So, Mr. Jocat has put up a new crap guide. This one for DPS. Now, as you know, he doesn't just single out the jobs. It's all about that roll, baby. It's all about that roll. And the thing about Jocat that somebody in the chat pointed out a moment ago, they're not as crap as you think they are. They're becoming pretty meta. And now, let it begin.
Everybody likes to do damage, and don't pretend like you don't, because I know you're lying. Otherwise, why would you
True.
be playing an RPG with core mechanics such as leveling up, getting stronger, and looking fashionable as fuck?
That's
It's
right.
to do massive numbers on the other guys until their
Glamour's
numbers are
in-game.
so small they match the PP size of anybody who doesn't commend at the end of a duty. The other numbers leaving too quick.
That's true.
Their numbers are so small they match the PP.
This is very true. This is very true. You know, if you commend the healer, well, that's the wrong thing. Yeah, that's the wrong thing. Always commend your healers. Always commend your healers. You know, but yeah, commend people who don't commend anyone. First of all, how dare you?
Size of anybody who doesn't commend at the end of a duty. The other members leaving too quickly is no excuse. How do you expect to move quick enough to avoid AoEs if you can't even move quick enough to tell your allies they're doing a great job and that their glamour is sexy?
I
Is that
mean, really.
uncharacteristically nice of me? Maybe, but it means I get to steal the LB3 from the only melee in the group. Welcome
That's
to a
right.
guide to Final Fantasy.
That's right. That's right. Whoever gets it first, right? That's how it works. That's how it works.
Today I'm going to be talking about every job. That's right. What, you thought only the DPS have to DPS? Boy, I could slap you with my overflowing glamour dresser. Damage is the name of the game in Final Fantasy XIV, and the entirety of the game is designed around everybody dealing it, including the tanks and the healers. If the DPS roles are contributing 60% of the damage, tanks and healers are the ones who fill in the other 40. So if you don't contribute, you belong in the garbage chute. So don't get so hung up on the role names. Everybody is a DPS. What I mean specifically is that one, not only is FF14 a cooperative game, which means anytime you waste is not only yours, but also anybody else in your party as well. And two, every combat feature in FF14 is designed with dealing damage in mind. Healers and tanks get skills that actively promote doing more DPS.
Wait.
Sage is a healer whose skills actors and tanks get skills that actively...
Hold on. Later. Yeah. Then that. I wish I knew the names off the top of my head. I don't. there's Blood Weapon. I do remember that one. There's oh God, I'm a Gunbreaker main. I'm a Gunbreaker main, and I don't even know the name of my own damage booster. I'm a Gunbreaker. No Mercy, that's what it was. I knew it was a Cypher something. I was like, oh God, I'm a Gunbreaker main, and I don't even know the name off the top of my head. Look, I might forget names, but I look at that one, I'm like, that's the big dick deeps button. Pow, there we go. Don't judge me. And then Sage has a gun, of course.
actively promote doing more DPS. Hell, Sage is a healer whose skills actively benefit from doing DPS. And most importantly of all, Enrage. Enrage is what happens when you overstay your welcome in a dungeon or boss arena and the residents have run out of things to talk about and are just really ready for you to leave so they can finally go poop without being worried that you're gonna steal all their old DreamWorks DVDs. That is to say, you're either forcefully kicked out or alternatively, they instantly murder you. How do you prevent this from happening? You murder them first, of course, and then you pop in a copy of Shrek 2 so you can watch the castle siege again. And guess what? The later and later in the game you get, the more and more free.
Wait, gets upset if you go too fast. True. Gets upset if you go too slow. And then Omega gets upset just generally. Omega does just get upset all the time. That's true.
Frequent enrages start to appear. And they'll have more and more health too. So if somebody decides they just don't feel like they want to cooperate in this team game they decided to play, and now the boss has 1/8 of its health left and is about to destroy the entire universe, Princess Fiona isn't going to be the only one who will need a hero. Hopefully it's been drilled in your head now that DPSing is essential. Not just for the jobs with the title sticker, but also anyone in a fancy robe or edgy trench coat as well. Now that you know that, how does one go about dealing max deeps? The first most basic thing is to do your combos. Press a button. See another button light up? Press that one. Congratulations, you have successfully completed a combo. And doing so will reap a myriad of benefits, from putting damage over time on your target, gaining mana, doing your taxes, or any variety of other additional effects. But mostly, it all achieves the same goal of dealing more damage. Secondly, you want to press these skills that the game labels as abilities and the community calls off-global cooldowns, or OGCDs for short. More like OGCDs nuts! I personally call them free damage buttons. They cost you nothing and there's literally
Now look, I do my Gunbreaker rotation. I do my Gunbreaker rotation pretty effectively. I say this as a guy that's main tanked and led EX Emerald weapon, EX Diamond weapon, and at least one wing of Savage Eden. Now I know that's not oh my god top dog stuff. I did not think about that, though. I knew what global cooldowns and off-global cooldowns were, but I did not think of them to look for the thing that said ability. This might not intimidate me learning other jobs now. I did not think about that. Learn something new every day.
No reason not to press them while your normal cooldown is rolling. But this one has a long
click
cooldown.
It, roll it,
what
click
if
the free
I
one.
need it later? No, it doesn't. Shut up. The cooldowns in this game are so short, you might as well press them because by the time you need them again, whoop, they're back up. Not to mention many jobs.
Okay, what he just said about, holding it off for later, I had a very bad habit of that in World of Warcraft because sometimes you just had to do that when it came to certain boss mechanics and stuff like that. And so over the years, I had to learn, but especially 14 helped me come to terms with this, of not holding off your big kerpow stuff, especially when it came to raid content. I learned pretty quickly, pop it from the get-go,
Jobs require you to press those free damage buttons to unlock even spankier damage buttons. So use your goddamn free damage buttons.
Yes.
It's free damage.
It's free
the
damage.
Next rule of DPSing is knowing your ABCs. Always be casting. This means mashing away at your keyboard like a tickle monster working double time. More specifically, it means that the best way to make sure you are doing the most damage that you can is to always have your global cooldown going. Even if it means accidentally pressing the wrong skill like the single brain cell that you are. Because if you're always pressing buttons, even the suboptimal one, you are doing more damage than if you weren't. And doing damage is always better than not doing damage. Yes, even Scathe. Here's a live example with my two subjects, Jan and Chloe. They both deal 1 million damage and suddenly the boss flies out of melee range. Jan sits there waiting patiently for the boss to return before she can start doing 1 million damage again. Meanwhile, Chloe's pressing the deal 1 damage at a range button the entire time they're waiting. I ask you, puny viewer, which person is dealing more damage right now? Yeah, but it's only 1 damage. Who's dealing more damage? As if any fight is going to get so close that dealing... Who is dealing more damage? Sure, it might not look like much, but it's going to matter when they fight the boss that has 3,000,002 health and they wipe all because the other DPS decided they don't want to press buttons. It's such little DPS, it won't make a difference? Sure, Jan. Now, one of the best things you should do to improve your damage in Final Fantasy XIV is this. It's really simple. I want you to lean in. It's a super simple thing. Here, come close. I'm gonna say the thing. Are you ready? Okay, here it goes. Read your tooltips! The little block of text that literally tells you what your skills do. Honestly, you would be surprised how many people queue into an expert.
He got me there. He's not wrong, though. He's not wrong. A lot of people I've seen complain on Twitter about, they don't know how to do their abilities and stuff like that. Read the tooltip. Read the tooltip. These jobs are not hard to learn, and I will say this again. I have played Final Fantasy XIV since A Realm Reborn. No, I'm not a 1.0 big dog, but I have played it since A Realm Reborn. I came back to it after Heaven's Word a while after Stormblood was out, like near the end of Stormblood. And after going through 2 years of Shadowbringers, I can say this. It is so much easier to learn your jobs now compared to where we were. So much good pruning happened. So much good pruning. So much.
Dungeon and never realize they have a skill that can attack multiple targets. Even all the things I tell you in this video, the combos, the range attacks, the AoE damage skills, the free damage buttons. The best way to know what your job is capable of is by reading your job skill tooltips yourself. So you better read your goddamn tooltips, because if I see another player not knowing about their AoE combo and a mob pull at level 80, I'm gonna grab the nearest etherite and bash you so hard you're gonna be teleported to the final resting place of every ERPer's used undergarments. With all that out of the way, you'd think I'd covered everything.
I don't want to go to Goldshire!
Clearing badass, right? Unfortunately, not Waffle Face, because the final responsibility every single role in Final Fantasy XIV shares is not dying. Oh sure, the healers help, but most of the time your own survival is on you and only you. And that means making sure you do the fight mechanics and don't take avoidable damage like it's got the cheese touch. Oh, I'm sorry, are you in the middle of your cast? You want to try to hit that purple parse like the big man you are? That's too damn bad! Each time you take damage that is avoidable, it means the healer has to heal you and they're dealing less damage. And on top of that, you get this cheese puff called a vulnerability stack. For each stack you have, you take more and more damage until you get one shot when the enemy farts in your general direction. All this to say, if you don't avoid enemy damage, you will not only make the healer do less DPS, but you're also likely going to die, which means 0 DPS. And if you still think that's not a big deal and the healers can just res you, each time you die, you get a dunce cap of shame that reduces your DPS even more for about as long as a red light in Philadelphia. So you better stay alive or else I'm gonna raise you so I can rescue you into an AoE and kill you myself. To recap, everybody's...
Healers in chat. How many of you have done that? Be honest, chat. Confess. Confess. How many of you have done that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Seeing a lot of chaotic evil in the chat. You're coming along better than I thought.
DPS matters. Press your free damage buttons. Always be casting. Read your tooltips. Stay alive. But even if you keep all those things in mind, the #1 rule to improve your DPS performance is to practice.
Yes.
Striking dummies are all over the goddamn place, out in the overworld, and even in the yards of some random people's houses in the residential districts. So if you see one, there's no shame in whacking it a few times like you're auditioning to be a dominatrix. I'm sure the neighbors won't mind. Practice makes perfect, and even all the foresight in the world will not fully translate into the doing. So go and do that doing so that one day you too can do the do and make everybody else look like doo-doo because of how good your doing skills are. And with how much doing you'll be doing, maybe someday you too can clear an ultimate and get a shiny-ass weapon of your own to show off to people AFKing at the Limsa Aetheryte Plaza. Just know the difference between an amateur and a master is that a master has failed way more times. By the way, get ready for a party wipe.
Wait, what?
Congratulations, you're now better at the game than you were 5 seconds ago. And now you know how to DPS.
That's exactly how my static takes it. Every time we get a little further.
Finally, my Q just popped.
Every time we get a little further. It's like, okay, progress.
No, one of the other party members withdrew. Ah, fuck.
Oh, Lordy B. Jocat. What a legend, man. Jocat. What a freaking legend, man. I tell you what. So good. It's so freaking good, man. It's so good. I love that he did a DPS one at last. I love that he did a DPS one. I would actually like him to see go a step further and actually like do the individual jobs. I would actually love to see him take on like crap guides for the individual guides. I really would like to see it. I think that would be a cool thing for him to do. But either way, Jocat's on his way to 1 million subs, and congratulations, sir. You more than earned it. More than earned it. Good shit, as always. Totally sway, baby. Oh, yes, sir.